This video will provide an introduction to the process of photosynthesis. In this video, we'll compare autotrophs and heterotrophs, and we'll also discuss photosynthesis by providing an overview of the reactions of photosynthesis. We'll talk about the two distinct phases and where they occur within the chloroplast. By the end of this video, you should be able to identify autotrophs and heterotrophs, as well as to describe the phases of photosynthesis and where they occur. So first, what is an autotroph? In short, an autotroph is an organism that can produce its own food. This is in contrast to a heterotroph, which is an organism that must consume its food from outside sources. So autotrophs can include photoautotrophs like plants and algae that use chlorophyll to capture energy from the sun to produce their own food, as well as chemoautotrophs, and these are organisms like the bacteria living in deep sea vents that produce their own food through other chemical processes. So our focus is going to be those photoautotrophs that use photosynthesis to produce their own food. And much like aerobic respiration, photosynthesis is also a redox process. So in the process of photosynthesis, we have energy from the sun is used to react CO2 and H2O, so carbon dioxide and water, to produce glucose and oxygen. And in this process, this is kind of the reverse of aerobic respiration. So here, CO2, carbon dioxide, becomes reduced to produce glucose, and water is oxidized to produce oxygen. So this is very similar to the opposite of aerobic respiration. And here you can see where the reactants and products actually go. So the carbon in CO2 becomes the carbon that's present in glucose. The oxygen actually becomes the oxygen in both glucose and water. Whereas the hydrogen in the reactant water is used to give off some molecules of water as well as to form glucose, and the oxygen is used to become, is given off as oxygen. So photosynthesis can be broken down into two distinct phases, the light reactions and the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle was once referred to as the dark reactions, but now we know that these reactions can occur in the light, although they don't have to. So sometimes they're referred to as the light independent reactions, but we're going to refer to them as the Calvin cycle. So in the light reactions, and these absolutely require light to occur. So water is in the presence of light energy is used to produce NADPH and ATP. So this energy from the sun is captured and used to produce the high energy molecules ATP and NADPH, and oxygen is given off as a part of the light reactions. So the three major products of the light reactions are oxygen, ATP, and NADPH. So then this ATP and NADPH is used to power the Calvin cycle. And as a part of the Calvin cycle, carbon dioxide is fixed to become sugar, such as glucose. So the ATP and NADPH from the light reactions is used to convert CO2 into glucose. And you can see here that these occur at different places within the chloroplast. So the light reactions occur within the thylakoids that contain chlorophyll, whereas the Calvin cycle occurs within the stroma, which is the liquid part inside the double membrane of the chloroplast. And just to review that anatomy, the light reactions are taking place in the thylakoid, which are these little discs that are green because they contain chlorophyll in order to capture the energy for the light reactions. So this is where the light reactions are taking place. These discs called thylakoids, a stack of thylakoids is referred to as a granum. And where the Calvin cycle is taking place is within the liquid that's inside this double membrane. So this liquid part is called the stroma, and this is where the Calvin cycle takes place. And that's the end of this video.